Hello, my name is Caroline Nettle, and I'm doing this video because I am setting up a Patreon account due to the fact that I have a goal in life to set up a market garden to help those with mental health issues, for those with learning disorders, anyone who is suffering from PTSD, anxiety, depression, that sort of thing. Because I myself have discovered just this year, 2018, how unbelievably healing it can be to be outside in the garden. And what I want to show you is this garden, which was nothing but a block of land that had tractors parked on it. There was no soil whatsoever. And my only resource was a large pile of organic horse manure and some wood from around the farm and some straw again from the horse stables. And what I've done over the last 7 months, we are now in July, is manufacture these beds and plant some vegetables and herbs and a few fruit trees, with a view to first of all seeing whether or not farming was for me. I wasn't 100% sure. I'd never actually grown anything outside before. I had been an avid lover of the outdoors and other people's gardens, but had never been in a situation where I had planted anything to eat before. I had planted trees and things, but nothing to eat. So Wild Nettle Gardens was born January 2018, and on February the 12th, 2018, there was a fire in the place that I was living, and it destroyed everything that I owned. And I went into a fairly deep state of shock, as you can imagine. The firemen the next morning said that basically had I been in there, I would have definitely not got out alive. So that was very sobering. But I went into shock and spent the next, 6, 7, 8 weeks crying a lot and really just trying to get myself back together, because it was a deeply shocking event, as you can imagine. And then, so I spent quite a bit of time away from the garden, but then I spent a lot of time in the garden crying and shouting and doing all the things that I needed to do to heal. And gradually it started to feel better, and as the planting happened and so on and so forth. So now I really have a deep appreciation for how completely healing a garden can be. My aim with Wild Nettle Gardens is to set up somewhere which is a new thing in England, well, newish, especially new to me, called care farming, where you come with your helper or carer if you need to, and you spend a day doing whatever you like in the garden. So if that's picking or weeding or, just planting or whatever it is that we need to do, and you do as much as you want to do. And you just spend time in nature, and it's a very healing experience. So this Patreon account is being set up because I started this with literally next to nothing. I found myself in my 51st year. I had very little when the fire happened, and I had a lot less after the fire happened. So it was sort of an extreme decluttering event for me. Now, I had a massive outpouring of love on Facebook. People donated money and clothes and new seeds and new implements for the garden. So I really did feel loved. But now I have come to, well, it's the middle of this season. It's my first ever planting food, as I said, and I genuinely am totally and utterly in love with this field. It's something that I want to do. I've fallen passionately in love with berries and fruit and medicinal herbs and things like that. So I've learned a lot, and I've made a lot of mistakes in my first year. And what I'm doing now is I'm looking for some other land. But what I know that I need to do is bring in some infrastructure for the project. So that would be things like polytunnels. I need at least one of those, especially if I want to keep my fruit trees alive over the winter, in the cold winter of the UK. I would preferably have drip line, and I'm going to need, if I'm having volunteers, more wheelbarrows and spades and forks. I need a large influx of compost. You know, like I say, irrigation. So there's quite a few things I can spend money on, and Patreon is one of the ways which I am hoping to find some generous people out there who like the idea of what I'm doing and are prepared to put a little in the kitty for me, so that it would make it a bit easier for me. Like I said, I've absolutely done this on a shoestring, so I'm super pleased that it's worked and that I'm in love with it and that I really want to still do this. So I'm going to now press play and let you see where we're at. The date today is the 24th of July, and I'll talk you quickly around the garden to show you what I've done so far this year. Next year I would do it completely differently, because I've learnt an awful lot by doing it the way I did it, which was very organically, to see what happened. Now I have a little bit of experience, I think I would plan the garden completely differently. But anyway, thank you very much for listening to me, and I will now show you the garden. So this was a very cheap plant that I bought for £1.79, which is probably about $2, and it has completely taken over a 26-foot bed, which is just ludicrous. I can see probably about 10 pumpkins in here, and lots of flowers to come. So it's really, really loving the environment of the cow poo and the straw, and yeah, it's just really going bonkers for me, which is fantastic. So this bed is mainly courgettes, and we've got some herbs in that one, and then we've got a big bed of borage, and we've got some beans in there. These two beds were knocked together by myself, and oh, that's all falling over, very drunk. But we've got potatoes and carrots and tomatoes and Swiss chard in there, and then beans, courgettes, strawberries. Some of the beans are really, really tall, and some of them haven't quite got going yet, but anyway. So the two beds in front of me were hugelkulturs, which I used manure as a mulch, and the birds have spent their entire life picking the worms out of it, so that's not looking as good as it could be. There we have some Jerusalem artichokes, some black currants, we've got beans, pumpkin in there as well. And this one is just some giant sunflowers. Now, I was really late to the table because of the fire, so my garden is a long way behind everyone else's. I actually think this is butternut squash, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to wait till that has some fruit. And then over here is kind of my nursery, so you can see apricot trees, cherry trees. I've got a lime and a blood orange. I've got a massive lot of those are, what are they called, golden cherries. Black currants here. We've got walking tree collards. These boxes I made from these beds I made from pallets there. We've got some sea buckthorn down on the floor there. A bit of moringa. We've got some asparagus. Those are coriander and oregano. More lettuce in the pallets that I made. There's pomegranates at the back there. We've got some more ground cherries here. Swiss chard I can see, black currants, lots and lots of moringa there with some roses at the front. Chinese chives, we've got tarragon, mint. So that's my berry. So gooseberry, red currant, black currant, blueberry. And then we've got honeyberries here in amongst all the tomatoes. And we've got some blueberries at the front, which I've just planted today. And so that's against the wall, and then we've got this bed here which is potatoes, peas, Swiss chard. I've got some red onions in the front there and some beetroots, and I think there's some salad turnips in there as well. Another bed of peas there, and we've got some beetroot in those beds. And then this last bed is lettuce, and I love this bed. I'm so happy with how these lettuces, and they taste very nice according to my first customer, so that's really great. And over there we have hugelkultur. So this is Caroline Nettle. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope that it has been of interest. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you.